welcome back to another episode of World of Tanks with Engini Titan. We're here on VIII line, and I'm in the Barracuda, and this is one of two games that I want to share with you in this particular video. I might be doing a bit of that in the near future, because quite a few of the games that I have are actually relatively short games. I tend to have more short games than long games. I think the average game is around 6 minutes. 5 to 7 minutes is the average game these days in World of Tanks. The whole thing is decided quite quickly. It's very rarely actually you'll see a long game, and even like this is games that I survive, like not necessarily games that I die in, but it's just the things tend to be over fairly quickly. So we're here in Siegfried line, and a lot of heavy tanks in the team. We're pushing in fairly aggressively. Now, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about this as a location, but I thought I'd just come in and see, was there anybody there? Now, can I get a shot through that window? I know I've done it from the other side, and sure enough, he puts a shot into my tracks from the other side. At least I think it was through the window. But I don't seem to be getting the shots through, and I'm certainly not getting a red reticle when I have the reticle pointing at the enemy tank. So we've one round remaining on the clip. Now the only real disadvantage I think with the Barracuda is the reload. The reload is quite long. You're over 30 seconds of base reload, and you're going to really feel it. And if somebody comes in on you, particularly a tier 8, because you can have a lot of the medium tanks can be 6 to 8 seconds. So a 6 second tier 7 medium with a 6 second reload will get, what, 5 shots into you? Which might not be enough to kill you. Well, could be enough to kill you. 200, 240. Wouldn't probably be not enough to kill you from full health. But certainly if you've taken a hit, it'll be more enough to make you sort of really regret your choices. Now, that first shot hit something, possibly the concrete base of that radio mast, and therefore did not affect him, which is a pity, because I think I would have taken him out if I'd actually managed to get all 3 shots in, and it might have seriously affected the course of this game, because he's probably dead by now, but the enemy are tanks ahead and rapidly opening the lead. Now I'm about to reload, so I'm coming around again because they are putting pressure down that line, and I'm hoping to catch some of them opening up. Now I pull forward and I get spotted by the Sturm VK, but I don't have a shot at him. I just know he's there, and he knows I'm there, and somebody bounces a shot off my turret. It's not ISM, but he'd pulled back far enough that I'd actually missed my first shot. I'd probably be better off if I drove forward and just covering around the other road and out the back while I was waiting for my reload. So I'm kind of don't want to spend a large repair kit here getting the tracks back up, because I have reasonably decent repair. We're now what, 5 tanks down? We really need to start pulling things back here to get anywhere out of this. There was a tank destroyer around the corner there, and I thought I'd get him. The ISM that pushed forward remarkably is actually still alive despite being under fire from multiple tanks. And this guy's pointing, and he's not pointing at me. So give me the side turret, and then somebody's poked around behind me and shot me in the backside. So it's time to get out of this street, break the line of sight from behind. Probably the medium down at the end of the town, down at the town gates. We have an ARL V39. To be honest with you, I was not worried really about the ARL V39. It is a terrible tank. The gun is actually not bad, but for its tier and stuff like that. But it's just got a terrible gun handling, terrible gun arc, terrible armor on the tank. It's just terrible all around, really. And we got a shot into the P43. But not a second one, and now we're stuck, and the Udays is making a run for it. And I didn't track him, which is a pity. It would have been nice to have... I don't know if I would have killed him. I think he'd have enough... I only had one shot anyway, and I think he had enough hit points remaining to survive, which means that the ending would not have changed. I am going to regret some of my choices here now. I came around because I said we'd one remaining tank surviving, and I thought I would try and assist as the King Dragon up against a KV5 Greenwich. He takes him out, but the artillery has dropped one on the King Dragon, so he's actually a one-shot kill. But I come out onto the street and I get a shot in the ammo rack. Another hit from the T-25 too, but I think he must have taken his engine because he didn't back around the corner. I think he was fast enough to back around the corner before my second shot. Here I get completely confused. I know that somebody's taking out the artillery, and I'm kind of expecting it to have been something like the Udays doing it from the town. Because he was in the town. So I was kind of expecting a tank to pop up behind me, and well, the enemies in the field are starting to appear, and the next thing the Udays appears in front of me. And I remember when I was playing it, hearing the little bip bip kind of that I've been spotted from the Sixth Sense going off, but kind of getting completely confused about what direction it was happening at, and not actually noticing the Udays coming around the corner. That left me so disgusted that I basically left the game recording and went out and had a cup of tea, or at least started the process of brewing up a cup of tea. And when I came back in, the game had completed its record, but it's basically like 3 minutes of my burning wreck in the field, because I didn't switch the point of view of any of the others, and I don't think our guys did anything remarkable. They kind of were as ineffectual at the end of the game as they had been all along, but we did 4 destroyed, 4,000 damage. Got ourselves a high caliber first class mastery. So where did that leave me in terms of overall, final score? Well, I got number 1, and while our top 2 scores were better than their top 2 scores, the enemy team were actually just did more damage overall per player on kind of a one-on-one basis. So right when that was edited down to sort of the action, it was basically a fairly short game, so I thought I'd include this one as well. This is another short game, but it's Fisherman's Bay, and it's a new spawn layout for a relatively new spawn layout for encounter mode. So instead of both sides spawning more to the east, they're now one slightly to the east and the other slightly to the west. This is actually encouraging a kind of a counterclockwise kind of counterclockwise kind of play, yeah. Where the team up in the north kind of goes down the western side of the map, and the team in the south goes up the eastern side of the map, and they all kind of meet in the middle and then fight across the map, which can be quite weird. As you can see, a lot of our heavy tanks are not heading for the town. They're not particularly heading for the encounter location either, the capture point. They're actually milling around in the north. A lot of them look like they're going to make their way up into the village in the northwest, which of course is an inordinate attraction for anyone who wants to do sniping on this map, because you get a clear field of fire for about a quarter of the map. But the trouble is, you only got it for a quarter of the map, and the important piece, which is most of the capture circle, is not in a visible line of fire from here. What you need to be doing is pushing very aggressively down this side of the map and into the centre, and probably at least aggressively enough into the centre to stop people getting through and out of the town the other side. Because if you lose the town the other side and they manage to clear out, then the enemy have actually got a considerable advantage, because they can attack you across the whole of the north-south axis of the map. with a reasonable amount of cover. This is basically kind of a ridge line running from A6 to where the cap circle is, and down into, for the cap circle, basically down towards the old cap circle, so sort of H6 or thereabouts. And on the eastern side of that map, you kind of hold down against targets on the western side, and you got to step back a bit further then. So if the people on the western side aren't very aggressive, because this is very much a bottleneck here, 1 or 2 tanks can do a very effective holding action along this position, and it's difficult to flank because if there's people in the centre, you pop up onto the road, you're shot at from the centre, you get very good flanking fire. Now we've got an enemy T-69, and I kind of understand why he's doing it, but at the same time you think people would have learned at this stage. Yes, the T-69 has really good burst damage, like when you fire all 4 rounds, it does quite a lot of damage, 12 or 1300 points of damage, but it's usually not enough to kill a tank. Certainly not enough to kill a heavy tank, certainly not in the early game, and the thing is, the reload's quite long, it's like a 25-second reload or something like that. It's not as long as the Barracuda, but it's probably got slightly better burst damage, but the interclip is a bit longer the reload. But it's a fragile tank. Like the turret armor isn't going to stop much. Certainly not against anyone who knows what they're doing. Now that Scorpion G is very unfortunate there. He gets caught, he hasn't got a kit. So he's tracked to ice. Nobody's in a position to shoot at him until he, I'd say, almost has those tracks repaired. Then he gets killed. But at this stage the battle's over. There's an AT-15 in the middle who has tanks on both sides and there's no chance of surviving. There's a Carnarvon which I think is AFK. But I'm not driving it. I'm going to sit here and farm shots off the Carnarvon rather than go after the AT-15 is dead actually, but I wouldn't go after the AT-15 anyway because there's always a chance that whoever controls that Carnarvon will sit down at the keyboard. If you expose yourself unnecessarily, they'll sit down at the keyboard and all of a sudden the damn thing will start firing. I think in some games you see people and they're just kind of deliberately doing it. I don't know what they're doing, reading the newspaper or something, but they're at the controls, they're sitting at the front of the console. The game is watching, but they're not actually paying direct attention to it, and the next thing, they're sitting there in the spawn, you think the tank is AFK, you drive up to it, you start putting shots into it, and all of a sudden the turret starts moving. As if, he's taking a nap or something, and he just woke up and went, what's that banging noise? We're down to the 2 artillery. This game is pretty much on hand. There isn't much the artillery can do to change the turnout of the game. There goes one of them. I didn't have a line of sight. The road is actually quite steep. There's the other one. And we finished the M44 off, so that'll give us our second kill. Done a nice piece of damage here as well. 3,450, just 50 short of the 3,500. And a nice piece of assisted damage there because we managed to get some tracking shots in and people took advantage of the situation and did quite a bit of damage. So it was another high caliber. Another first class mastery. Picked up a sniper this time as well for hitting more often than we missed. And again we came number 1 by experience. At this stage our team is more front loaded in that all the top players are doing the most damage, and again considerably more than their counterparts on the enemy team, so it was a pretty easy and actually fairly straightforward win on this particular type round. And it'll probably be a while before people adjust their playstyle to what's going on in the new spawns, but an aggressive push down that western side I think is the way to go if you're in a heavy tank, especially reasonably. If you can get some backup. If you don't get backup, then you're going to probably dig in where the people in the village up in the northwest can actually provide you with covering fire. And you kind of dig in and hope for the best, which might not be all that good. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, comment, share. It really helps the channel out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.